All right, hello everybody. Let me know if you can hear us in the chat. Welcome. We are doing this very special The Elder Scrolls Call to Arms AMA today, discussing Chapter 4 and the new starter set, the very exciting new starter set. Today I have with me Gavin, who is our project manager over the Call to Arms line, and Mark Latham, who was the designer of the game. So welcome in, guys. Very excited to have y'all here. Oh, good. Everybody can hear us. Great. Sometimes I always click, sometimes it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm running tech, I have to click one button. If I'm running the stream, I have to click another. So I always forget. So awesome. Well, welcome in. I guess, do you have anything that y'all wanted to, y'all want to introduce yourselves? Yeah. I know I just kind of
Yeah,
introduced
sure.
you, but if you want to introduce yourself further and other stuff that you work on other than just this, or more about this that you work on, let me know.
Sure. So I'm Gavin. I am the project manager and I'm the visionary for Call to Arms and really for all things Skyrim as well. So I look after the Skyrim board game too. I also look after Acton Cthulhu here at Modiphius and a couple of super secret projects that I can't tell you about at the moment, but new stuff that we've got coming up. I've been the project manager on Call to Arms since its launch and worked with Mark from the very earliest days of putting the rule sets together. So that's me.
Awesome. Mark?
Yeah, I'm Mark Latham. You may know me from such things as. I've been a game designer for a long time. Before that, I was a White Dwarf editor, managing editor of Games Dev at Games Workshop. I've worked everything from Warhammer through to the Elder Scrolls. Also, kind of novelist, I guess, and video game narrative writer. So yeah, lots of stuff going on. None of which I can talk about except Call to Arms, which we need to talk about today.
All those NDAs, all the pesky NDAs.
Yeah.
Damn you.
I have a
Yeah.
mountain of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and my name is April Hill. I am the community manager here at Modiphius. You might see me on the channel sometimes on Mondays running Fallout Winter of Adam and running tech behind the scenes when we're playing Star Trek Adventures and on the socials and stuff. So welcome in, everybody. I guess what do we want to chat about first? The starter sets?
Yeah, let's talk about the start set.
Okay. And if anybody has any questions, pop them in chat and we'll try to get to them if we can. Okay, yeah, so we've got the starter set on the screen. So it's a big, chunky, it's a thick box. Yeah, what all
It
comes
is.
in it?
Yeah, so it's a big box. It's designed to be when we first launched Call to Arms, we had big, long discussions about what we were going to include in the set, and we took our learnings from when we did Fallout Wasteland Warfare, that other game, and what we could learn from doing that. And some of the feedback we got about that made us think hard about what kind of miniatures we wanted to put in the starter set. And we ended up with the rules and all of the miniatures being separate and giving people a choice about whether they wanted to buy plastic miniatures or resin miniatures or whatever they wanted. And also maybe if they already had some hairy Vikings and perhaps some Romans, maybe they just want to have the rules and proxy in some other figures. I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to buy the Modiphius figures, but the option was there as well. Likewise, if people just really loved the Skyrim aesthetic, the Elder Scrolls aesthetic, and they wanted to use our figures for D&D or for another game of some kind, again, why you wouldn't want to play Call to Arms, I don't know, then they could just buy the figures and not buy the rules. But as time went on, the feedback that we got after doing lots and lots of demos was overwhelmingly that people loved the game when they played it, and they then say to me, right, so what do I need to get started? And I had to say, okay, so you need one of those and one of those and one of those and one of those and one of those, and people ended up with a big pile of boxes. So instead, what we thought we would do is create a one-stop shop for everybody. And the starter set is that. It includes a set of the core rules that you can see here, and it includes one each of the plastic faction starter sets. So that's the Stormcloak faction starter, the Imperial faction starter, and the Bleak Falls Barrow starter, which includes all of the Draugr and the Dragonborn as well. And it also includes an additional bonus blue Dragonborn Ethereal, which you can see on the front of the box, just over there. And in that box is everything you need for up to potentially 4 players to get started. So you can have Imperials, Stormcloaks, Draugr as a playable faction with the downloadable rules, and soon as a fully playable faction, which we'll come on to in a minute, and also the Adventurers as well.
So, so it's like, so we've got the core box, and so it has everything that the core box has in it, and then some, so that people don't have to have a mountain of boxes, like you said, like, I don't have, like, what else do I need? So it's all in one, consolidated into one. That's very
cool. The core rule set includes all of the hero cards and the adversary cards and so on and so forth for all of the miniatures that appear in the box. So everything in the box, you've got the stat cards for, you've got the rules for. Likewise, all the rules in the box, you've got the miniatures to go along with them. And that provides you with a really, really good foundation to get started in the game. It's the mix that I use for running demos. So if anybody who's had a demo on our gorgeous Bleak Falls Barrow board will be using the miniatures from within the starter set. Plus, you get more on top of that as well. You also get the Imperials and the Stormcloaks that we don't usually play demos with.
Those are awesome. So, Mark, what did you write on with it? Like, what did you do with the starter set and the core rules and all that? What was your role in all of this?
So the starter set is based on all of the rules and stuff that we worked on right from chapter 1, I think. So this is just kind of consolidating all of that content from the early days. So yeah, I was lead designer on the initial rulebook and all the kind of chapter 1 and chapter 2 characters. It's really nice to see a full set, and it's really weighty as well. I saw it in the flesh for the first time at Salute this year, and Gavin thrust one into my arms, and it was like a small dog, like really heavy. Yeah, like my baby. Yeah, it's really cool. Very glad to see it.
Yeah. Well, we do have that. So it is available right now on the UK web store. It is not available just yet on the US web store, but it will be.
It will be.
Yes.
It will be.
It will be.
The boxes, so the stuff that goes inside the box, we actually, because the game had sold so well, we ran out of some of the stuff that went inside the box. So I've actually had to do a second production run of some of the plastics that go inside the box, which is really, really great. Those plastics are being manufactured and shipped straight to the US web store at the moment. And the empty boxes, without all of the plastics inside them, are currently in a container making their way across to the US as well. So very soon you should be able to get it in the US too.
Awesome. Someone asked, so that means that the rule book that's in it is the updated rule book, or?
No, it's the older version of the rule book because we haven't printed the updated rule book yet.
Okay.
But it's worth talking about the updated rule book because we've now closed the feedback for it. Last week, I think, week before last, we had 196 comments come through. There was a good deal of duplication in there. So it's good because people are seeing some common errors that we can get fixed straight away. There's some stuff that we're just not able to do or outside of the scope of the rules questions. There's some stuff that is simple typos that we can address really quickly. And there's some stuff that's going to take a little bit more thought for us to look at. And there's a few common threads that have come up. There's some queries about the action economy and how that's going to work. There's some queries about how magic affects adversaries, which Mark and I have both got strong opinions about and don't necessarily always have the same strong opinion. But there's some stuff in there that's going to take some discussion before we look at it. But it does mean that when the revised rulebook is available, anybody who has bought either the core set that I've got here or the new starter set will be entitled to a hard copy of the revised rulebook. And you will only be paying shipping on that. And as much as we can, we're going to try and keep that shipping low. So it will be localized shipping. In the US, we'll ship from the US. In Europe and the UK, we'll ship from the UK. We'll also be making the PDF of it freely available to everybody for free. Freely available for free.
Yeah. So as soon as they order it, they get the PDF for free.
I'm not entirely sure how we're going to do it yet. It's easy when people have ordered from us because I've already got their contact details. But what we need to look at is what to do if somebody's bought from their friendly local game store, if they bought it from maybe an online retailer or something like that. We're also going to be doing a program where if you are a retailer and you've got stock of these box sets, or indeed the starter set, we're going to be giving people stickers that they can put on the front to say new rulebook available, with a QR code that will link directly to the PDF, and that will also have details about how you can get the hard copy rulebook as well.
Awesome. So so someone's saying if they bought the core set, that means that if they if they ordered it from us, then it would just go to them because we have their contact
information. From us, we know about it already. If they bought it from somebody else, they will need some kind of proof. It might be a picture of them holding the book up and smiling at me or something like that. But we'll work that out when I get to that point. I've still got to print the book and get it approved by Bethesda and that kind of stuff. So we've got a little bit of time to go yet. But yeah, if you do buy one, either the starter set or another copy of the core rulebook in the meantime, if you keep hold of your receipt for it, or whatever your email receipt is from your online retailer or something like that, that's going to help smooth the process through. What I don't want to do is for anybody to be left out of the process. We want to get this rulebook out to as many people as possible because we love the game. We think the rules that are in there at the moment work. They're just maybe not organized in the best way, and they could be a little bit clearer. So yeah.
Awesome. Alrighty. Anything else that you want to discuss about the starter set before we jump into chapter 4? Any other extra little tidbits?
No, I don't think so. I think that's everything for the starter set.
Awesome.
Should we do our first exclusive reveal of a new set?
I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, my dog. My dog is excited to see too. She's like, yes, please. All right. So coming up first, we have the Draugr Lords. So yeah, tell us. They are up on the screen now. So tell us about the set.
Draugr Lords. So the theme of Chapter 4 is Rise of the Dragon Priests. For a very long time, we've been talking about having Draugr as a fully playable faction, and we've had some playtest rules out for a while. Mark put his thinking cap on about how we could bring all of the Draugr in as a fully playable faction in the smoothest way possible. We've both got a very keen desire to keep things aerodynamic, as I like to call it, with it, not trying to put band-aids on stuff, not trying to put plasters just to get rules work, but to write good, consistent rules to get everything working. The Draugr Lord set that you see here are a bunch of named Draugr who form the heroes for your new playable Draugr factions. Mark, do you want to talk us through some of what you've done for the Draugr?
Yeah, so the important thing with Draugr for me was that they don't play like a normal hero-based faction because they aren't interested in going on quests for magic items. They're not really interested in raiding treasure, and they don't leave their lairs that much unless it's to wreak revenge on the terrible, warm-blooded living people who've stolen their treasure. That's kind of all they really care about. So it's trying how to get that across without limiting players at all, and that's a real challenge because you don't want players to think, oh, well, I can't do all the usual stuff that's exciting about the game if I play Draugr. So a lot of their rules are geared towards sort of protecting their lairs and protecting their treasure. They never actually gain treasure, but they can gain victory points by getting treasure and other bonuses too. And they can do other cool stuff like turn the environment against you. So if your opponent sets up a trap, they can make the trap more deadly because it's their lair, right? They're protecting it. The other thing I did was give them a unique quest deck. So they don't go and do quests like everyone else, but they do have objectives and they do have quests. So they have a full quest deck, which in the playtest version I think was a table. And I've just really refined that and made it into a proper, I think it's 12 cards. But that's all about objective control, about this is the thing that we're going to protect. This is the thing that we're going to do to you for coming into our lair. How dare you? It doesn't mean they can't play in wilderness and settlements. They do absolutely play outside of their lairs. They do absolutely raid villages and towns. But they're kind of the baddies. You get to play the baddies, which is totally cool. The Lord's box. Are there special characters in there, Gavin? Like Red Eagle and people like that?
Yeah, that's the box there. We've also got our first, as Jim Wolfe 1987 has noted as well, it's our first Lady Draugr there as well on the left on my right. Yeah, is the Gatekeeper, who is from Solstheim up in the north there.
Yeah.
We like to play bad guys too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So one of the key rules, and it seems like a small thing, which really helps with these special characters, is the signature loot special rule, which is a new addition to this chapter. And that basically means you can take the really cool, unique swords and armor or whatever, like Red Eagle's Fury, for example, and you can give that to the Draugr Lord, who's meant to carry it. So if he's a hero in your force, that's part of his kit. He gets it by default, and it's costed in his points value. If he's an adversary, it's in his stat line. But either way, when you kill that guy, even if he's a hero, he drops that sword and you get to take it. So the signature loot rule is all about. And you know what? I'd love to go back at some point and do some of the older characters who have really cool iconic items, like Mjolnir the Lioness with Grim Sever.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. If we get another chance to revisit those characters, I'll definitely put that in. But for now, it's all about the Draugr and having those really cool iconic treasure items, giving you the chance to take it off them if you dare.
That's so cool.
And of course, it's called Rise of the Dragon Priests. So we have some dragon priests as well, don't we?
I don't have pictures.
Very excited about those guys.
I don't have pictures of those, but
Oh, no.
yes. I was like, you spring this on me. I don't have images of. Oh wait, the old ones.
No.
Yeah, not
The old ones. So we had our dragon priest promo miniature that we've already released, but we've got another 2 dragon priests in this chapter. One of whom is the unmasked dragon priest, who is the promo for this round that we previously shown. But we've also got another dragon priest who is wearing a different style of mask as well. And in the card set, we also have rules for all of the named dragon priests from Skyrim as well. And the way they're done is quite clever. That they use a standard dragon priest stat box, and then they are modified by the mask that they are wearing to give them their special abilities for that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and some of those masks also give you extra rules, like signature loot. So if your dragon priest carries a unique staff, for example,
Heronvoke, for instance.
Heronvoke, for instance, yeah. So you get your generic priest, you upgrade him to be a special priest by giving him the mask, and then that gives him the special staff as well. So it's kind of a bolt-on rule. That those masks are all unique items, and it just allows you to turn any dragon priest model into a special character.
Yeah, really, really good.
I know this isn't related to the Draugr Lords, but someone did ask about dragon rules. Can we say anything about it? Do we?
Yeah, I think we can talk about those. So the dragon rules, we're not doing dragon rules because dragon rules are boring. What we're doing are epic creature rules, which cover a whole different loads of things. Dragons are indeed epic creatures, but as are things like the giant that we released, but that we previewed at the last ModCon. And for instance, maybe the Forge Master that you see down in the depths of, insert Scrabble letters here, I forget the name of it, the Dwemer Dungeon. So yeah, they are, and the plan for those is that they will be included with the Chapter 4 card pack, hopefully.
Awesome.
Do you want to talk a little bit about those epic rules, Mark?
Oof, yeah. So there's a real difficulty with having these huge, weighty models kind of stampeding around the board. Yeah.
Literally weighty models, big lumps of resin.
On really huge bases, kind of going around doing the things that ordinary models do. So we had to come up with a set of kind of exceptions to the rule, and really exciting, cool things as well. Like they have their own unique reaction tables, for example. And their cards are going to be bigger, am I right, Gavin? I'm thinking that?
That's the plan, yeah.
Yeah, because we want to have multiple attack forms printed on the cards. So if you are a Forge Master or you are a Brown Dragon, you're going to have different ways of attacking, and you use your reaction table to generate which attack you're going to do. And it also depends on your facing arc and all this kind of stuff, because you're so big, you just get to kind of go, oh, this guy's in front of me, so I'm going to breathe fire on him. This guy's behind me, I'm going to lash him with my tail. Or this guy's at the side of me, so I'm just going to stomp on him. And all these things are quite, just really reflect these big destructive beasts. But yeah, when we were doing the dragons, we just instantly thought, well, there's loads of really big creatures in the Elder Scrolls setting that might benefit from the core rules. So splitting those off and making a core set of rules that allow big, impressive models to take an active part in the game, and then having a unique stat card for every monster we want to make, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. It also means that we can expand it out in the future as well if we ever want to do, one of the things that I have in mind is when you go up to Solstheim, there's the big ghostly frost giant up there, Karstag, I think his name is, that you have to assemble all the bits of him and leave them on his. It's kind of the hidden quest. And when you come out, and he's an absolute beast to try and kill as well. But being able to do a card for him is something that I'd like to do as well. And then there's still loads of different dragon types we can look at as well. We've got a selection of them in the epic creature rules, but we can always bring more in as well, which is quite nice.
Yeah. Okay, you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's.
All right. We've got the Dragonborn Heroes.
Yes, Dragonborn Heroes. So every chapter that we release has at least one Dragonborn in it. Chapter 4 has no less than 6 different Dragonborns in there. And we've tried to hit some of the different styles of play that people have for the Dragonborn as well. Plus also on the far end there is also people will recognise the player created Dragonborn as well, the community created Dragonborn in the Dragonborn Thuneweaver. That was the winner of our competition 2 years ago, I think, something like that. But we have 6 different archetypes, if you like, of Dragonborn in there. My particular Dragonborn is the lady crouching over in her glass armor, firing her bow, which is my model of Stealth Archer. But we've also got a really, really nice, the Orc, who is in the carved Nordic armor there, is just, chef's kiss on that. And then we have the Breton Spell Sword, who's standing there with her flaming hand and her dwarven sword. And then we have the Champions of Boethia and Champions of Marunis Dagon as well. Mark, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the rules designed for them?
Yeah, sure. So these really exist to complement your playstyle. So no matter what kind of faction or group you want to run, there's going to be a Dragonborn for you. So you can all kind of run you're running the main story, but the Dragonborn fits your style of play. And maybe we've been quite limited before. We've got some quite cool ones. I mean, we've got like a vampire Dragonborn and stuff like that, which is super awesome. But now you get like a whole set, and you can just completely tailor your playstyle with an awesome Dragonborn. So they all start off with the same powerful profile, but then the special rules and perks just really make them pop. Like your Berserker is your heavily armored barbarian, horde control. He's just great at bashing through minions. The Thuneweaver, that's the competition winner, right, Gavin?
That's right, yeah.
Right, yeah. So that's the closest. I think if you're on your journey to becoming a greybeard, he's kind of started off. You think I want to be a greybeard one day. That's your guy. So he's all about shouts, and he uses his unarmed attacks to generate Thume.
Mm-hmm.
Champion of Mayrun's Dagon, he gets by killing the unworthy. So if you want to play a baddie, like we talk about playing baddies quite a lot, he's definitely a bit of a baddie. So he basically picks on weaklings. If you like, if your strength 3 or less and he kills you, you get like stamina and health back. He also gets Mayrun's Razor, which is an awesome magic weapon. Champion of Boethia dishes out bleed, so like negative conditions and sapping the enemy, and gets a unique ebony mail. Spell Sword is just the best wizard Dragonborn you can play. Special rule there, which I really like, is they get to use stamina as well as magicka for boosting spells. Which just means they have like this ridiculous magicka pool effectively, and they have other ways of regenerating that through stamina. And then finally, Ranger, which, let's be honest, is the default that we all play when we play Skyrim. That's your stealth archer. You start out with the best intentions. I'm going to play a wizard build this time. I'm going to be a barbarian. No, I've ended up being a stealth archer again.
Yeah.
So that's Gavin's stealth archer.
Yeah.
In the glass armor.
In the glass armor. Yeah.
And they all get adversary rules as well, as is our want. So you can play them as heroes with any equipment you want, or you can have that exact build as an adversary card as well.
So, if, for instance, you were playing our new playable Draugr, guarding their tomb, and
from
the noisy
Dragonborn,
from the Dragonborn and the noisy, adventurers come crashing in, smashing open your pots, stealing your gold, waking up Uncle Olaf. Anybody who's heard me demo will have heard this speech before, because of what I say whenever I'm trying to sell the game to people as well. The waking up Uncle Olaf who's been asleep for 1,000 years line, I say about 10 times a day when I'm demoing.
That's hilarious. I always go, like, I usually go mage. Like when you're saying,
Yeah.
no, I stay. Like, that's my favorite. And stamina's my dump stat. I'm like, I don't need that. Like, that's like, I'll keep that at what, a level 10. Nah.
I'm playing an iron version of it at the moment where I'm allowed 6 potions, and that's it. And I'm not allowed to fill up my backpack with all the looted weapons. I either have the weapon that I've got in my hand and 1 in my backpack, and everything else, no, can't carry it. Can't carry around 10 wheels of chills. Yeah, I'm just trying it as a hardcore exercise to see how I get on. I'm dying a lot. I won't pretend that I'm not, but yeah, it's an interesting, it's a different game.
Yeah. Have you ever played where you don't go to Whiterun? You just and so the dragons don't spawn? I think that is like if you don't go to Whiterun, like the dragons won't spawn, and then you beat the game and then go back or something. I don't know. There's some people do that, and I think that's what it was, that you skirt. You don't go to Whiterun. I don't know. Anything?
If I don't go to Whiterun, I can't meet Lydia. And Lydia is my Skyrim wife, and I have to meet Lydia every time. Oh.
That's adorable. Let's see. And don't forget, if you have questions, pop them into chat. We've been answering a couple of them in chat, but we will answer them if you got any questions, if we can. Yeah.
More Dunmer. We do have more Dunmer on the way. We've got lots more elves on the way. Some of them not very nice elves as well.
Will there be more Dwemer themed game mat or any other any other game mats?
We don't have any plans to do more game mats at the moment. They are quite expensive, and the biggest problem for us honestly is shipping, because they're a funny shape. If you fold them up, they get creases in them, and people don't like it because they've got creases in them and they're hard to get rid of. But if you roll them, they're an odd shape, which means the shipping is difficult and expensive, and they often get bent and broken, which we don't like. So at the moment, we don't have plans to do more Dwemer stuff. We have talked a bit, and this is very, very much, we've literally just talked about it, about doing some tile sets maybe. But one thing we do want to do more of, and you will have seen a little bit of it recently from Callum, is we want to do some more crafting blogs and tutorials and so on and so forth. And I actually wrote a piece for a magazine in the UK about making some cave terrain for when Into the Dark came out, based on cork tiles. So you can make yourself a whole cave terrain set out of a couple of packs of cork tiles and some foam board and sticky back plastic and brown paint and what have you. So we'll be looking to do some more of that as well. And we've got more STLs coming as well for the print at home community.
Yeah. What was the question? Will there be an expansion for Draugr sceneries? We've got like the.
Yeah, we got lots of Draugr stuff. We've got the Nord Tomb with all the sleepy little Draugr sleeping in their slots in the wall, and the sarcophagi as well that your dragon priest can burst out of, surprising you when you get to the end of a dungeon. So we got that. They are available as resin or as STL as well. We're probably going to be doing some more Draugr themed community scenarios as well. We're looking to expand some of the community scenarios that we've got up at the moment. I've got 4 that I'm commissioning, and I'm probably going to do another 8 or so, I would say. So there'll be one for every month of the year.
Okay, do we want to move on to our last preview, or do you have any other final words for the Dragonborn heroes?
No, Mark?
I do not.
All right.
Okay.
Last preview coming up, we've got the Saber Cats.
The adorable murder kitties.
Kitty.
They're so cute.
Here they are. They're so cute. Yeah.
It's so fluffy.
So
And all of
yes,
these have scenic faces, by the way. They all have scenic
they do.
faces. Yeah.
Yeah, all have scenic bases. This is unfortunately going to be our last chapter that has scenic bases, as has been mentioned elsewhere. Fallout and Elder Scrolls are transitioning to playing plastic bases instead. Um, the reason for that is the bases can make up just as much resin as the actual miniatures do, and so by eliminating the scenic bases, we are able to maintain our prices rather than having to increase them because of increasing costs of materials. Resin and shipping and rubber and all sorts of stuff are going up in price. So by reducing the amount of resin we have in there, we're able to maintain the cost of the miniatures. But yes, Sabercats, our murder kitties, expanding out the adversary forces for you. We've often said that we wouldn't do wolves or bears or miniatures where you could get versions of them elsewhere, but I had a good look around and there weren't decent proxies for the Sabercats, so they got included. Mark, do you want to talk about Sabercats and perhaps some of the other adversaries that we've got in Chapter 4 as well?
Oh gosh. So the Sabercats are an interesting one because I only kind of saw them for the first time when we were prepping for this Ask Me Anything. So I wrote them all late. It's one because I kind of write the rules so far in advance that I never quite know how they're going to get packaged up and when they're going to get released. And I think I did the Beasties quite a while ago. And the Sabercats have been held back for this chapter. But yeah, great. I love Sabercats.
That's right. You did Sabercats when we did Into the Dark, didn't you? That was a long
we did a whole
time
bunch
ago.
of yeah.
We did a whole bunch of because we did bristlebacks and stuff as well, didn't we?
Yeah, we did the Bristlebacks and wolves and ice wolves. Yeah, so
Yeah.
they've been around for quite a while.
Okay,
Yeah,
so rather than that, do you want to? Would it be useful to talk about then what your approach to designing rules for something like this are when you're given a brief by me? How would you then approach building out a Sabercat, for instance?
Sabercats are one of the easier things to build out, actually, because they don't have much variation or personality. So they're going to use a standard beast response table. They're going to use a fairly standard beastie profile. So they're the simple things. It's the characters for adversaries that are trickier. If you don't mind talking about that a little bit, because I think the process might be interesting for people. So I always kind of take a really holistic view to design. So I start with like, what is the story of the game, which is kind of, it sounds kind of flaky, but basically what I do is I take a bunch of characters that you give me. You say, oh, we're going to make these characters in this chapter, right? So I kind of look up what is the story behind those characters, and if they were in a party delving in a solo narrative game, how would I want them to play? What would the story be? Where would I want them to start out? What would I want them to be looking for? How would I want them to interact with objectives and other models? What would the mid-game look like? And then what would the victory look like? So telling a little story for each character, whether it's a Dragonborn, or whether it's Codlac, or whoever it might be, whether it's a Sabercat.
Who? Codlac, you say?
Codlac. I love Codlac. Actually, can I use him as an example? Because he's really good.
Yeah, you can.
Example.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because he is. Let me just find a little note I made about this guy. Yeah, so he is a character who is not particularly strong, but he's the leader of a really strong faction. So the unique thing about him is like, how do I make someone who is on the wane, his strength is waning, and you don't want him to be the big hard guy in your party, but you do really want him to be the leader. So his abilities have to therefore be about how does he influence the models around him and make them stronger, and whether that's turning them into bodyguard, which he can do, or whether it's just giving them bonus dice to attack, which he can do. And then when all odds are against him, he gets to turn into a werewolf, which is really awesome as well. So that's a great example of a character with a really unique story in the video game, and how I try really hard to reflect that in the tabletop rules. And I do that with every single hero. And then it's even tougher with the adversary version, because you want them to play using AI against you. in
And
a
of course,
manner that can.
the adversary versions have to be streamlined as well, because you won't be picking equipment and so on and
Yeah,
so forth.
exactly. So they have built-in equipment which is based on their miniature. So they
Yeah.
have. So their attack isn't always named on their card, but it's basically if they've got an orcish sword, then that's a profile for an orcish sword. It's quite neat like that. But they have to play in the correct way. So their reaction, their response chart plays a certain way, and their special rules are streamlined so that they always do the thing that you expect them to do. Hopefully, 9 times out of 10.
9 times out
Yeah,
of 10.
that's 9 times out of 10. Well, yeah, the response chart is meant to have, they're meant to surprise you.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll often go and get the objective instead, and oh no, don't do that! I want you to charge me. My carefully laid plan has gone to waste. So that's how I design heroes.
Perfect.
What?
So yes, a little bit of a reveal there.
Yeah. What size are the Sabercats? What's their base size?
I believe they're on 40 mil bases.
Oh.
I think 40 mil bases. I think.
So they're a little bit bigger.
Yeah, because they're not tall. They're long. They're a bit chunky in the long ways.
Yeah.
So they're on 40 mil bases.
Awesome. Do we have any? Can we say anything, or do we have any news about Histories of the Empire 2?
History of the Empire Volume 2, yeah, absolutely. I have had it back out of approvals from Bethesda. They had some notes for us to look at, which we have addressed. Dom, who works in our dev team, was fantastic on the spot with catching some bits and pieces that we had overlooked that we needed to address, and they've done that now. I have spoken to our art director just earlier this week about a nice fold-out map that is going to be part of Histories of the Empire 2, and it is on the cusp of being delivered into layout. So I would expect to see it before the end of the year, assuming all things are equal and there are no Krakens or sea monsters who hijack the shipment when it comes back from the printers. Yeah, it's looking good. I mentioned the other day that it's split up into 2 parts. One half of it deals with a kind of hex scroll through Blackreach, the giant cavern, the giant Dwemer city underneath Skyrim, where you are collecting Nirnroot, and you move from hex to hex to hex, trying to gather up Nirnroot and finding out what happens as you enter the hex. And so it makes quite a nice little mini game there. And we're going to have a nice big fold-out map in the back, so you can track your progress through Blackreach as well. Nice. And then the second half of it is all to do with the Shadow part of Steam and Shadow, which is the Dark Brotherhood. And there is a campaign whereby you undertake Dark Brotherhood contracts to try and gain favour with a patron within the Dark Brotherhood. So you rise up the ranks through the Dark Brotherhood. And the different contracts they bring in some new interesting rules about fighting in urban areas and lighting as well. So your sneaky assassins can creep from Pool of Shadow to Pool of Shadow and so on and so forth to keep them hidden while it goes on.
That's my favorite. They're my favorite faction. Yep. Dark Brotherhood all the way. It's my favorite.
Yes, I do have a sword next to me, Jandarius.
So awesome. I'm just like, okay, so let's see. Do we have any? Cicero, I know. Cicero! Somebody was asking about Cicero.
What's that? I can't hear you.
Cicero!
Sorry, the audio's cutting out. I can't hear you. It's really bad.
God,
sorry.
Dang it. Everybody wants more Cicero. I love it. Cicero's the bestest boy. Yeah. Do we have any other questions in chat or anything else? So that was our nice little preview of what's to come in chapter 4. Just a few little crumbs for everyone watching and a little bit about the starter set. So you can know a little bit more about that, and it is coming to the US soon, but it is available in the UK right now on the UK web store. Oh, the base size, I think you said 40, right? 42?
40 mil for the Sabercats, yeah.
Okay.
Crafting and sculpting of the giant is going well. I have a a master version of him downstairs, which I can't go and get, unfortunately. But yes, going well. He is on the release schedule for towards the end of chapter 4, because I want to get the rules out for the epic creatures before we release the giant. But believe you me, once we get a painted version of him back, I will be shouting about it from the rooftops. I will be at High Hrothgar shouting off the edge of the world.
Same. I can't wait to post pictures of it and be like, look what we have. And then like he stomps somebody and kicks them into oblivion. It's great. So yeah. Any other parting words? Any other final words before we log off for the day?
Just a couple of last questions in there. Yeah. Are there plans for cavalry? I do have a plan for a cavalry model, but it's not for a couple of chapters yet. Chapter 4 will be punchboard cards again. Yeah, the saga of cards and call to arms is a long one that I don't want to go into now, but we've finally found, I think, a format that works for us, which is the kind of cards that you saw in Chapter 3. We're happy with them. They're also created in the EU rather than in China, which is where our previous card packs have been created. So that cuts out a lot of travel time and carbon miles for us as well. So, yeah, we're going to stick with those for the time being. They also give us the opportunity to do things like have the larger format cards for the dragons as well, because we can play about a little bit with anything basically that is smaller than the size of the booklet that comes with. I don't know where it's gone now. The booklet that comes with that card pack, we can create a card for.
Some Elder Scrolls Online content.
There are more sculpts for Elder Scrolls Online. I don't have them in my release plan at the moment, but that doesn't mean they won't be released.
Do love some ESO. I still log in like every day just to get my dailies. Can't help it. It's like a habit. It's like even if I'm like going to log into Diablo, I'm like, I'm gonna go log into ESO, get my daily, and then jump back over. It's terrible.
One interesting thing about the design on this project is that right at the start, if you look at the keyword section of the rulebook, it does contain keywords for Elder Scrolls Online content and mounted models. Because at the time we didn't really know exactly what we were going to release in chapters 2, 3, 4 and beyond, so we were just kind of, let's future-proof it and have the base rules for everything, because we'll probably do all this stuff, and then it's just like picking and choosing what gets released and when has been the challenge, hasn't it, for you guys?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And, we had a global pandemic and all the concurrent problems with distribution and manufacturing and so on and so forth that came with it. So the plan that I had 4 years ago for the release schedule and what actually met the real world were two completely different things.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
Background font. I don't think we have we haven't done any like stream packs or anything like that for this.
We haven't, but funnily enough, it's something that we just spoke about during one of our meetings earlier on this week. Was exactly this sort of thing. So yeah. I would say watch this space. We are working on stuff like this at the moment. We've got amazing people like April who have come on board, who can bring the kind of knowledge we need to support the community for things like stream packs, because I haven't got a clue. I know this works through electricity, right? The interwebs thing. But fortunately we have people like April and our marketing team and Steve, who does all of our video stuff as well, who can point me in the right direction and gently explain to the old man in the corner how these things work. So hopefully, yeah, we will be getting some more stuff coming up. There are more competitions. We also spoke about 2 different competitions earlier on this week as well, so keep an eye out for those. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Okay. Who makes the terrain for the model pictures? Oh yeah. Do we have somebody that does the terrain specifically?
We've got quite a selection of terrain. We've built it up over a number of years. Yes, we do have people who make the model terrain for us. I don't remember off the top of my head. The demo table that you've seen pictures of was made by a guy called Tony Harwood, who's quite a prolific model maker for wargaming. He does articles for the two big wargaming magazines in the UK, Wargames Illustrated and Miniature Wargaming. And he's also got a couple of books that I thoroughly recommend, all about making wargames terrain as well, which he self-published, and they're excellent. We've also now got Callum, who has recently come on board as our studio painter, and he's been painting up some of our own resin terrain. And we do have another couple of other model makers who are, I'm sorry, I've forgotten their names as well, who are freelancers for us.
Yeah.
I just saw that Daft Medic is asking for an injured knee model, and I fully endorse this model. I have some ideas for the rules too, so yeah, I'm all over that. Please make an injured knee model, guys.
Yes.
Let me just write that down.
Yeah, we've got sweet rolls. So now we need an arrow in the knee. So
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you both so much.
That sounds like a ModCon exclusive to me.
Ooh, yeah. And that's coming up. So ModCon's coming up in September. So there's some time.
Yeah.
That's great. So thank you both so much for taking time out of your day to come and chat and have this little AMA so we can see the sneak peek of Chapter 4 and talk about the starter set and everything. So, and thank you all for watching and coming on and participating and asking questions. We love these games, and we love that you guys love these games. So, awesome. I guess we will see you all next time. And don't forget to be joining our Discord so that you can ask more questions and chat about all the cool things that you saw today. So yeah, I guess we will see you all again next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.